Hi, my name's Niven Padachy, and this is my story. I guess I've always battled with alcoholism most of my adult life. I didn't realize I was battling with alcoholism. I was always on probation. I always had a occupational driver's license, and I would take chances all the time. I would drink all the time. You know, drinking started off as something to use for celebration, and then as I just kept being less and less okay with the person I was, drinking turned into the automatic crutch that I used whenever I wasn't feeling exactly how I needed to feel. I mean, I had walked away from God for a long time. Not that I in any way stopped believing in Him, but I was definitely not walking a path that He would have been proud of. And that kind of reached the breaking point in January of 2015 when I received my third DWI. And in the state of Texas, that is a felony and is basically required jail time, and was sentenced to serve 3 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. At the time, I felt like it was one of the worst things that had ever happened to me. And with hindsight being 2020, I have realized that it was probably the thing that saved my life and was the best thing that ever happened to me. I remember at a certain point going to church while I was in TDC, kind of a peace came over me, and I know that was God working through me now, but at the time I knew that I had never really taken my problem seriously before. This was gonna be the step that I needed to take to get my life where it needed to be. I think, you know, if you talk to my wife or any of my family, they'll tell you that it was definitely the best thing that ever happened. It's tough sometimes, you know, to look back on it and realize that you made some decisions that kept you from your family. You made some just selfish decisions that, you know, just kept you from your wife and your kid for, 17 months. That is time that you will not get back, and you will regret it for a long time. And it's hard, but I know that whatever it took to get to where I am now, it was worth the price. Because now, I mean, I'm completely different than I used to be. I think about those stories and that person that I was, and it actually feels like talking about a completely different person. I only ended up serving 17 months because of good behavior, so that was a blessing in its own right. I got released on May 11th of 2016. My wife and kid were just almost out of school. My wife is a teacher. It was a great time. I got to spend, a good 2 months at home with my family, after being separated from them for such an elongated time. After being home, Brooke had told me that, hey, some friends of hers, Whitney and Marco, are going to this church, Sea Life in Rockwall. They don't have an actual location yet. They just do it in a school down the street. And she said, I would really like it if we could go check that out. And we went, and it just felt right. And the message was, it felt like they were talking to all of us, and there was such a connection. It felt like the right place to be. After the second time we went, I told Brooke, yeah, I think this is the place we need to be. It's just been a positive experience since. I don't do AA. I don't do any programs. And maybe that makes me different, but I do CG. That's what I do. Sunday, CG is my reminder every week of the person I'm trying to be, the person I want to be, and the person I need to be for my family and those around me. If somebody out there is struggling with addiction and doesn't have a belief in God, they can just sit down with me and I'll tell them my story. Because I'm an IT guy and I'm a numbers guy. A lot of things are based on results for me. And I will tell you, I tried it for a long time the other way. It does not work. I'm happier than I've ever been. And I know that's because of God, and that's because of the life that I'm leading now. My name is Niven Padachy, and God performed a spiritual 180 in my life.